Craft, and this is Damien's level 1 upgrade. And here it is. This box should contain Damien's upgrade. I have now opened the box, and exactly as I thought, here is Damien's new motor. Part number 3785. So let's go ahead and get this installed. So the first step is to take off the wheels. I've already done that. All you have to do is remove the little nut that goes on the shaft, and then pull the wheel right off. And do the same on the other side. I've also done the next step, which is taking off the gear cover. There'll be a screw right here and a screw down here that holds on the gear cover, and all you have to do is remove those two screws and pull the gear cover away. The next step is to remove the motor. So as you can see, there are two screws, one right here and one right here, that hold the motor in place. And to get the motor out, all you have to do is unscrew those two screws. In some cases, you may need to remove the pinion gear first, because it might be too big to fit back through the hole. But in this case, it's small enough that I do not have to do that. The old motor has now been removed, and now we need to take off the pinion gear. To do that, there's just a small grub screw right here, and you need to get a small screwdriver and remove that. The pinion gear has now been removed, so now I need to open the new motor so that I can put the pinion gear on it and reinstall it into Damien. Alright, let's get this motor opened and the pinion gear installed. Just tear off the top. And then there's a seal right here. So I'm just going to rip it off like a savage. Just push your fingers in there. It is now open. And here is a new motor. So let's go ahead and get that pinion gear installed. Alrighty, the pinion gear has been installed. I did not tighten the grub screw down all the way yet because I may have to move it in or out of the shaft a little bit, depending on how I need to adjust it to fit against the spur gear. So let's go ahead and get this motor installed, the opposite of how we uninstalled the old one. So the motor has now been screwed in, but I did not tighten down the screws all the way because we need to adjust the mesh. To do that, Traxxas recommends that you put a small piece of paper between the pinion and the spur and then tighten down the screws all the way, and then make sure that the paper slips through properly. For me, I just like to make sure it's a little bit of a click. There should be a very small click, yet it should be very confirming. Spin it around a few times to make sure it's spaced properly on all the sides. And now you can tighten up all the screws and it should be meshed properly. Now that the gears have been properly adjusted and all the screws have been tightened down, we can now put on the gear cover. So you just need to slide it over the gears until it fits into place properly. Then you need to put in the screw right here and the screw at the bottom right here. And now that the motor has been installed, we need to do the wires. There are two ESC wires, one black and one red. You will notice a small hole in your shock tower, and all you need to do is push the wires from the ESC through the shock tower like so, and plug them into the motor, red to red, black to black. Now the wires have been installed and we can adjust them to the proper length, and you want to adjust them so that there's not a lot hanging out, so that way it doesn't snag on anything and rip off. So I would just curl them up over the ESC, make sure there's just a little bit of slack right here, but not too much, and they should be able to come over the ESC and have some slack in there as well. so that way neither side is too tight, nothing's going to rip up, and the wiring should stay intact. We can now put the tires back on. All you need to do is take the tire, put it onto the shaft, and put on the nut that holds it onto the shaft. The right side tire has now been installed, and now the left side tire has been installed. Please make sure that you do not over tighten the nut, because if you put it in too tight, the tires will not spin freely. If there's a lot of extra friction, loosen the bolt slightly and keep doing that until the wheels spin properly. And that was Dameon's level 1 upgrade.